I got a problem. It's not like a problem that's major and requires anything special in life. In fact, if you look at the problems in the world today and what's going on everywhere, it ain't a problem at all. All I got is noise. I got noise. But I was at Goodwill the other day and I found this for $4.99. What is it? It's a Grundig FR200. It's a shortwave radio for emergency situations. It also does AM radio, and that's what I'm going to use it for today. Now the cool thing about this is it runs on batteries or by hand crank. I'm going to use batteries, but this is going to help me find some noise in the house. Let me demonstrate for you real quick. Now you're going to see those light bulbs up here, and you're going to see that they're not on. No problem at all. When these lights are off, no problem at all, right? Let's go ahead and turn the lights on. It might get a little bright for you. Oh yeah. Now, naturally, noise is going to generate from these light bulbs, and I understand that, but I felt like that was a little bit too much noise, and so I ended up replacing that light bulb, and the noise did go away slightly. Now, that's just noise kind of in that general vicinity, but you can kind of see if the noise may be radiated or emitted a little bit more. It could be problematic to the ham radio shack right above there on the ceiling. But what else do we have going on? Because I have some noise on the shack that's just really killer, and I figured it's got to be around the house somewhere, so I'll turn this on. Another one of these lights, man. That was a very minor generation of noise, and in fact I left the light bulb as it was because I didn't think that that was significant enough to cause an issue. Should probably turn that down a little bit, right? Here we go. You ready for this one? On the other side of this wall, is my ham shack, right? Problem solved. Just don't do laundry anymore. We'll be good. But in all reality, I bought this for $4.99, and not only does it serve a need for emergency communications, but it could also really help you out in the shack trying to figure out what might be going on and what kind of problems you might be having. So if I were to turn it right now to shortwave, let's see if there's any shortwave stations that'll pick up with this little antenna. You know, one of the things maybe in the future, maybe I could upgrade this to an external antenna. Anyway, I'm a shortwave now. It works. I could live without clean laundry. I don't need light bulbs at night to keep lights on in the house. As long as I got ham radio, I'll be okay. But in all reality, I'm kidding about that. But I'm not kidding about how useful this Grundig FR200 could be. Now, let me tell you a little bit of a story. And I said in the video I got it for $4.99, but on the top here it says $4, so I'm sure it was probably $4. It didn't come with the power adapter for it, but it did have the internal chargeable battery in it, and I added some double A's, in here. So this device does take 3 AA batteries, and then it has this little charger pack here to recharge for the hand crank that's on the side. This does have AM, FM, and shortwave capabilities. And why is this so useful? Not only for finding noise in the house using the AM feature and walking around the house, but in a life situation or a life-threatening situation, how could this help you? Well, let me explain. I know this isn't a two-way radio. I know this thing doesn't have transmit capabilities, but over the summer, I wasn't prepared, and you might have already heard this story. A tornado came through our town, and when the tornado came through the town, The sirens went off, so I went into the bathroom with no windows. Shortly, I lost my cell phone capabilities, and we lost power. So here I am in a dark room, no candles, because I'm not well prepared at this point. And my HTs are all dead. Now I have quite a few HTs, and they're all dead. Well, that's my first problem. And that's been rectified. I have a backup solution, even if I don't have power anymore. Bioenno battery with a power pole USB junction box. But this would have been a very good tool to be able to listen to something and know what was going on. Turn on the FM radio, listen to the local radio station and say, okay, what's going on? Okay, cool. The tornado went north of us. I'm not as concerned. Or now's the time to take cover and praise whoever you want to praise because the tornado is about to hit us directly. This would have been a very useful tool to have. And for $4 at Goodwill, how could you say no? I wanted to just kind of maybe take a look at the QRZ reviews and give you guys an idea what people on QRZ are saying about the Grundig FR200. It says I picked this unit up at a barn sale for $5 with the pouch and the paperwork, but no adapter. And again, I got no adapter and I didn't get the pouch or the paperwork. He wasn't expecting a radio for primary use, but he's impressed with the little radio. The reception is okay if you're not real picky about images fading and overloading. Very strong speaker. I would agree about that strong speaker. You guys could hear it on my video, which was pretty good. These were one of the models dropped in Afghanistan during the conflict to inform the general public of what was happening in their country. I'd never heard that. I necessarily wouldn't doubt it. It seems like it would be a semi-durable radio. It wouldn't withstand a water test. When I was editing this video, I decided to do a little research out of sheer curiosity, and allegedly they did drop 30,000 of these over the city of Bagram in Afghanistan. Now, if you've ever been to Bagram, you may have actually stopped at the United States Air Force Base there. It's kind of a big deal if you're just cruising through Bagram. Anyway, great chow hall, great barbecue food. So if you ever worked there at Bagram and you made that barbecue, good job. Back to the video. Here's another individual who says there's two drawbacks to this radio. Cranking it is a pain, and I've heard that also by multiple people. Cranking's a pain, and you got to crank it to get a charge, right? And let's see, the flashlight is pretty useless. Let's see if we can't turn the flashlight on for you here on battery power. Yeah, that's it. I don't know or have anything really to compare it to, but that's not very bright. But again, for $4 at Goodwill, I'm not upset. And I recognize that you might not know what frequencies this covers, even though I've mentioned AM, FM, and shortwave. So FM radio is, I'm actually just going to look at it. It's 88 megahertz through 108 megahertz. AM radio 530 through 1710 kilohertz. Shortwave radio 1 is 3.2 megahertz to 7.2 megahertz. And finally, we have shortwave 2, which is 9.2 megahertz up to 22 megahertz. So within those frequency ranges, you might be interested in this. Now, I recognize that it doesn't buy standard or stock do single sideband, but watch this next review. Perhaps this is the coolest review on eHAM that I maybe ever read. And I say it's the coolest because a lot of times people don't share like the mods and the cool little tricks they learned about this radio. But N4RT, well, here's an update on the little Etón Grundig FR200 that I recently purchased. I bought a 10-tech T-kit external BFO for $11, and I found a place to install it inside the radio. I drilled a hole in the case for BFO tuning pot, and I installed a small on and off switch for BFO on the back of the radio. I found a place to pick up power off the circuit board, and now I can copy CW and single sidebands on my FR200. That sounds like a pretty cool project, and maybe we could jump into that one day. Another feature that might interest you about the Grundig FR200 is there is a headphone jack in the back. If you had a situation where maybe somebody didn't want to hear your radio, but you wanted to stay updated or listen to the Cubs game, you could just plug in the headphone jack and listen just like this. So that is pretty nice, and I understand that a lot of these features are found on a lot of different shortwave radios. In fact, all the reviews on eHAM pretty much agree that this isn't the best shortwave radio, But it is a pretty darn good radio, especially if you can find it for this cheap. A lot of people have mentioned some mods. I talked about the sideband mod, but another one that people are talking about, I told you how bad the flashlight is. You could actually replace this flashlight bulb with an LED bulb. Now, I don't have a coin on me, but I do have this little Allen wrench, and right next to where the bulb is, it says coin open. And I'm assuming that if I had a coin, I could pop it open. Let me see if I can find one. I didn't find a coin, but I found a knife. Honestly, it just popped right open. As soon as I put that knife in that little slot right there, it popped right open. Now I can go in here and I could replace the bulb or the LED, whatever I choose to. That's pretty convenient. In fact, I just looked here and they even include a replacement bulb. Very nice. A couple other considerations I found on Amazon.com was, first of all, this is about £1, which is pretty lightweight. It will fit in your go bag or fit in your emergency kit, wherever it might go. But also, one of the things that was mentioned, and I agree with, but I never thought of it, was the tuning dial, or the area that shows all your different frequencies. It doesn't illuminate. That could be kind of a problem, especially in the dark. With all those features aside, I don't think there's too much more to talk about this radio. And I'm not trying to sell you this radio. This Grundig FR200. I'm kidding. But what I am encouraging you to do, whether you're an amateur radio operator or not, is pick up a emergency radio for your emergency go kit or for your truck or whatever it might be. For your mother who, imagine if your mother was the one who had no power, no phone, nothing along those lines. She'd probably be pretty scared. So maybe this is something you would consider for yourself or for others that could potentially save your life. Not to mention the huge benefit for an amateur radio operator, and that was solving some of my noise issues around the area. Thanks for checking out the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Ham Radio Dude. Consider subscribing. 73. Hey honey, you know that FTDX 101 I bought? Yeah, I'm sorry for that, but I'm gonna buy you a new washer.